All right. Hello. So I've got Andrew Hahn with me of Ersa Fund Management. Andrew, can you tell us a little bit about the company to start off with?
Sure. Yeah, Ursa Fund Management's a small hedge fund. It's just myself and my partner, Russell. I've been operating for about 15 years, and we generally focus on kind of small to mid-cap securities in the event-driven corporate action space. So our strategy relies on finding publicly announced deals that are inefficient for one reason or another.
All right. So how was that working before we started to work together? How are you guys finding these deals?
So we normally source most of ideas either through like sell side broker research emails that would come through in the morning, or some like custom filtering within the Bloomberg terminal, general news stories, things like that. But yeah, our ability to find new deals was constrained by what inbound information was coming in, as well as just manpower, being able to sort through news filings and quickly digest them and whatnot.
Yeah. So how much of your guys' time do you think was getting consumed in that prospecting sort of phase where you're looking for new deal opportunities?
Uh, I mean, I would say probably it was generally in the morning, since a lot of deals are announced either after the market close or before the market opens. So yeah, I would say yeah, maybe 30 to 40% of our morning was just kind of focused on, seeing what was announced overnight, seeing if anything met our criteria, giving it a rough assessment to see if it was attractive or not. So yeah, somewhere that's a rough approximation.
Yeah. And what was your confidence level that you were catching everything then?
I mean, of the inbound information we were getting, we were, confident we were catching that because we were diligent about going through it. But yeah, you're part of the strategy relies on, okay, what are we missing? Is there some diamond in the rough that we're just not getting in touch with? So certainly we weren't confident that we were tapping into everything. So yeah, casting a wider net is always better, as long as you either have the manpower or some sort of system which we can get into to sift through that information.
Yeah. So what made you take the next step here?
What made us take the next step was we have a pretty well-defined list of criteria that we're looking for. So it seemed like something that was pretty teachable, and learnable, especially with current AI capabilities. So we felt like as long as we could distill, what we're looking for in an opportunity into some sort of, rubric that an AI could assess and give us a score back, then we felt like we could cast a much wider net and just bring more opportunities into the pipeline.
All right. And in that phase where we were just first starting to talk and you were kind of looking for a solution and somebody to provide that solution, what things were you most concerned about?
I think we're most concerned about, I think communication skills were definitely important to us. There's a lot of smart people out there, but if we were left with a tool that was really difficult to tinker with, or have some sort of baton pass at the end of the project where we could at least maintain it, we were definitely wary of that. I mean, even if something were working well initially, but whoever built it wasn't communicating how to operate it, then you're kind of left with something that if it breaks you can't fix it. So yeah, communication skills were definitely important. So we could tell from the outset that you could communicate well, how to build something and how to maintain something. Clearly you had the expertise to do it, but then, as I said, communicating what was going on was definitely important to us so that we could learn and, have the ability to do some of the maintenance on our own, at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So now that we've got the system built out to do this automated prospecting. Can you talk about what's life like now and how it's different from before?
Yeah, I mean, we're casting a much wider net, so we're able to, rather than relying on inbound information from brokers, which they may not be catching everything, plus whatever manual searching we were doing before. Now we can catch a much wider net, so we're confident that the pipeline can be much fuller than it was before, and then yeah, it's been great to see kind of the evolution of the testing environment to production, and then we'll still be able to refine it going forward. So we could say, okay, here's our rubric, but this one scored just below our threshold. Let's go in and tweak the rubric and make sure that we have the rubric dialed in how we want. And then we could already tell just with the capabilities of what you've currently built that there's a lot of add-on features that we're excited to delve into next.
Awesome. All right, and I guess I'm not asking you to give away anything about the decisions that we're making with the investments here, but just in your own words, could you talk through sort of what the system's doing and what output you guys see when it's running?
Yeah. So I would say it's basically like just magnified our productivity. So as I said, I think the first part was being able to distill our process into some sort of scoreable rubric. But after we were able to do that, which there's a bit of heavy lifting to work through, what makes sense from a scoring perspective. But now now we've magnified our productivity. We can, the AI through the tool you've built can look at thousands of filings, filter down what's relevant, like what's within our area of expertise, and then provide a very accurate score. As you said, during the testing phase, we hand scored the opportunity based on the rubric and then compared that with what the LLM models were spitting out, and the results were extremely close. So that gave us confidence that the LLMs were scoring things as we would be hand scoring them. So then it's just bringing more opportunities to our radar, and searching all available information basically. And then as previously discussed, now we even have additional sources of information that we feel like we can tap into and cast an even wider net.
Awesome. And can you talk for just a minute about how it delivers these opportunities to you when it finds them?
Yeah, that's the other great feature is it's a super clean format, which we've been able to tinker around with a bit. And you already had it built very cleanly, very digestible information. So top line summary that gives us the pertinent information without inundating us with too much. So I'd say it's like the perfect mix. But then if we want to delve deeper, there's a hyperlink embedded in there. We can click on the actual source of the information, and then we can quickly see what the LLM was scoring, where the information was coming from, and then we can do kind of a deeper dive there. So yeah, I'd say it's a perfect mix of a good summary with the ability to dig deeper quickly.
Awesome. And then last question, what would you say to anybody considering working with Laconic Tech?
Yeah, I'm super happy with the project that was delivered. You met all the timelines and exceeded the timelines, and I'm just confident that you're going to be there to assist us if little bumps in the road pop up. I don't feel like we're just left on our own, which I said is very important to us, because if you have this really great tool that's built, but then you're just kind of left managing yourself and something goes wrong, then you're kind of lost. So I also feel very confident that you're going to be a great support going forward if anything comes up.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Yeah. See you again.